What's up, GoCo? On this week's episode, CB, Kevin, and I are sharing games that we in the community wish we could play, but for whatever reason aren't able to at the present. In news, Final Fantasy XVI is getting a mature rating, and Microsoft is officially increasing the price of its first-party games. You'll also hear our impressions of the Callisto Protocol, Pokemon Scarlet, and Kevin also got his hands on some audio hardware for his PC from EPOS. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It is Monday, December 5th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. First off, Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer. What's up, man?
Hola. How are you?
Bien, y tú?
That's all the Spanish I know. Sorry. Well, okay, appropriate Spanish.
There you go. Yeah, you know all the curse words, right?
Yep.
Unfortunately, Zach and Alyssa both are not able to be here today. Zach, in particular, is severely ill to the point that he can't talk without coughing. So wishing him a speedy recovery. And we wanted to have a third chair, so we decided to bring on a special guest this week. You've heard his voice on the podcast doing reviews in the past, and he's a very integral part of the Gaming Outsider. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to the show Mr. Kevin Honigford. Kevin, how you doing, man?
I'm great. I didn't know Zach was sick. Man, I feel bad now.
What? You're like scooping in on him kind of thing?
Here I come.
Yeah. You got some big shoes to fill, man. Well, I don't know. His feet are pretty small, but you got some shoes to fill. Real excited to talk to you, though, man. We've had you on to do the reviews. This is the first time you've been on a proper episode for the whole thing, so this is going to be exciting.
Yeah, I know. You didn't have to talk it up anymore. I'm already palms sweaty enough the way it is.
All right, slow down, Eminem.
Arms heavy.
We do have some interesting news that happened. Not news, but anniversary. This week, the original arcade version of Pong released 50 years ago this past week.
Yeah.
Wow, that was cool. And I thought this is kind of a crazy coincidence because I was actually playing Pong on Sega Genesis with Kevin at his house last week, which was like just the most random thing ever. Sitting around drinking beers and what was it? It was Pong
Hockey
Ultimate or Pong something.
It was on the arcade classics for the Sega Genesis. I don't remember what the actual Pong is.
We had some good fun and laughed way too much for a stupid, simple little game like that. But it was a good time. So 50 years. I kind of expected it to be higher than that for some reason. But I guess the arcade stuff wasn't really happening that long. But man, that is one of the originals, one of the first video games out there. And man, could you imagine spending that much money for that game back, nowadays?
Oh, wow.
That's all you had. Besides, Scott, you should be able to like gauge the age of video games pretty close to yourself.
So I was ready for that.
I am not 50 years old, man.
Just add 10. Just add 10. It's like the beginning of video games.
There you go. As much as our newfound but TikTok audience is reminding me, shouldn't let 40-year-olds talk about games. Well, Kevin has been producing these little TikTok videos. We got to get that channel started. It's just on our private one right now. And he did a clip of the show where we were kind of dogging on Red Dead Redemption 2, and some of the comments were not very nice.
Yep.
You know what? I will put my skills up against 90% of the younger generation out there.
I hear you. Well, let's get into some of the games that we've been catching up on. Chris, how is God of War Ragnarok coming for you?
Pretty good. So, getting real close to the end there, buddy.
I love how Chris says, on the last time we were talking about this game, he's not racing me to finish these games, right? And that episode, he was bragging about how much farther ahead he was than me.
I put it on the back burner.
You stop. You stop talking for a minute because you were like just bragging.
You got silenced.
You were bragging about how much further ahead you were than me. As soon as I beat the game, you magically stopped playing it and decided, I need to, beat Callisto Protocol before Scott
the game that I've been waiting like 4 years for it to come out. Like, so you can quiet because I'm pretty sure you're like, hey, how far are you in Callisto Protocol? I'm like, I'm done. I beat it.
Yeah. Oh, I saw it when you posted it on Facebook. Yeah, the day after the game came out, you're like, roll credits on Callisto Protocol.
Wow.
But Ragnarok, yeah, I chunked pretty hard into it today, so it should be finished by tomorrow pretty easily.
That's what you said yesterday.
Well, I also had 2 kids stay home with the flu today, so
ouch. Oh man, everybody is sick right now, man. It is nuts how
believe
many people...
me, I
seriously feel like there are more, maybe I'm talking out of my butt here, but it feels like there are more people sick than in any of the 2 years during COVID. Like people were getting COVID, but it wasn't like everybody I knew was sick at the same time. Yep. You know what I mean? And now it's just like these past couple weeks, it's just the flu is hitting everybody. I had a chest cold last week. It's nuts.
That's also because there are quite a few people out there that just like, oh yeah, I tested positive for flu A, and then just show up to work and give it to everybody. Yeah.
So how are you liking Ragnarok? Are you finding it long in the tooth like I did, or are you just still enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it because I keep coming across items and stories of things that I'm like, hey, I know what that is. Like,
somebody posted in our Facebook group about what the poems are or what they're alluding to, and I have no idea.
How can you not?
I don't know.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to give you
Is this a spoiler?
Not really. Just
you say that every time I ask.
I'm going to give you the title of one of the poems, and think about it for a second.
Okay.
Large ground orb society.
Large ground.
Well, large ground orb.
Large ground.
Replace each word with something else.
Big circle ball.
Large ground orb.
Okay.
Big
major
sphere. I have no idea, man.
League.
Major League
Baseball.
Look at this freaking guy.
Oh, okay.
Major League what?
Baseball.
Major League Baseball?
The show.
Okay.
I'm very confused.
I'm so confused.
Oh
You're just
God.
gonna. This is making for terrible radio.
Like I just don't understand. Like there's
tell us after the show because I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh my
God! When I'll look up the other poem and I will like just before we even get outside. I want you to log onto your PlayStation and just read the poem and tell me how you don't understand what these are.
I actually, to be fair, I didn't read the poems.
Then you need to shut your mouth because the moment you read the poems, you're going to be like, I'm an idiot.
I also don't know Norse mythology.
They have nothing to do with Norse mythology.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. It's a joke. I will tell you that.
All right.
Okay.
What about you, Kevin? Anything you've been catching up on?
Believe it or not, I finally cracked into Assassin's Creed Valhalla recently.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And a weird twist. Frontiers kind of got me craving something a little more open world, and that was one that I got for my boys back when we first got the PS5, and so I booted that up, and I am really enjoying it. The only other Assassin's Creed game I've ever played, just so you know, is Origins. So I'd take that for what it's worth.
I mean, these 3 games, Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, play vastly differently than the originals. So if you do like that, I would be really curious to see what you think going back into, like, say, Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. The combat's, I mean, they're the same basic gameplay style in terms of open world and doing this and that, but the combat is just completely different. I will say the combat's not great in the originals. You can really cheese it very easily once you know what you're doing. The combat in the later trilogy, if you will, I don't know if you consider that a trilogy, but when they started changing things over, made it a lot more difficult and a lot more interesting. So
okay.
As for me, I am still picking away at Evil West. That game is getting hard. CB, have you tapped into that one yet at all? I know you've got access to it as well.
It's been downloaded, but I wanted to finish Ragnarok first because I need to finish that. Because we're getting.
Are you sure? Because you can beat Evil West before I do if you start that up.
Don't challenge me because I'll do it. No, I'm trying to get certain things done since we're getting dangerously close to Game of the Year's area.
Yeah. That is creeping up on us. It's kind of crazy that we're already in December. This year has flown by. We've got a lot to work on for our Game of the Year episode, which Grant will be returning for that one. Which
cool.
I'm looking very forward to. It's one of my favorite episodes to do each year. So, Evil West is getting tough, though. It's getting really difficult. I'm refusing to lower the difficulty. It is the combat is expands as you go. It's a game that you cannot play it the way that I like to play games. I told you you've got melee attacks and you've also got ranged attacks. You really can't play this game just ranged like I want to. You really have to get in the thick of it, and certain enemies have to be taken down with melee, certain enemies have to be taken down with ranged.
That sounds awesome.
It really is, and you keep getting new upgrades, and not just in the skill tree, because I mentioned when I first talked about it that there is a skill tree, but I actually like this skill tree as opposed to like the one in Ragnarok that I just felt like I wasn't really using the moves as much.
That's not a skill tree in Ragnarok.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? This one is, these are things that are actually beneficial, but on top of that, you just randomly come across things through progression of the story that actually give you extra weapons and new abilities, and you really have to use all of them. You have to cycle through all these abilities, which gets hairy because enemies aren't difficult to fight when you are playing just against one enemy, but when there are multiple enemies, it just makes things incredibly hairy, which is something else I'll talk about in another game we're going to talk about shortly. But it's really good. I am liking the tone of this game is just crazy. It's hilarious. I'm not going to say hilarious. It doesn't have comedic elements, but it's just funny how self-serious this game is, but not like it's taking itself too seriously. It knows it's ridiculous, but the characters don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like this is going to be a big hit with a lot of people that unfortunately are going to miss it because it fell right in the middle of Ragnarok and Callisto Protocol.
Yep. Yeah, it's. I actually am interested in checking it out. I was going to after I heard you guys talk about it, or you talk about it specifically over the last week or two or whatever. It does look really, or sounds really intriguing. Like I said, I haven't got a chance to check it out yet, but it is something I've wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been on my list. Unfortunately, it's just not as high on my list because of where it fell in the year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It fell in an unfortunate spot, but it's also kind of a smart spot because it does stand quite a bit apart from the other two big ones that are out right now. But it also has some similarities too.
Can you imagine if Starfield released on its intended date?
Oh, man.
When was that? I don't remember.
Like the end of November.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be out right now, so.
Oh, so sad.
Kind of. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. All right, first off, we've got some trailers to talk about. Tim Thane from our Discord community shared a trailer for a game called WrestleQuest that is coming on to Switch in May of 2023. That actually looks pretty interesting. Also, we got a second trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie. Got a little bit more info on that. We got a bunch of new games coming to Game Pass. That quite a few actually. Also, the composer from Streets of Rage is developing a new game for the Sega Genesis. True story. I'm not making that up. There is not going to be a 2022 or 2023 Smash World Tour. Lots of drama going on with that. Final Fantasy 16 is getting a mature rating. Star Wars Jedi Survivor has an official release date, and Xbox first-party games are getting a price increase. Lots of things to talk about there. Kevin, you are our guest. Where would you like to start, sir?
I think it's awesome that someone's making a game for the Sega Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that, I was kind of blown away. What in anyone's mind would tell them that that's even a possibility nowadays? I mean,
First off, super shocked that you picked the Sega Genesis story to talk about. But secondly, There are actually still games being made for older consoles, but most of them are homebrew.
Yeah.
You and I played one of them. Little Medusa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We played a lot. We got one at Midwest Gaming Classic. Was it Bovine? The cow game? No, I know. I'm just saying that they're making them for classic retro consoles.
Yeah.
But this one is actually being made by people that were involved in making some of the larger games, which is what made it an interesting story to me.
Yeah.
Yuzo Koshiro, who composed the music for games such as Streets of Rage, The Revenge of Shinobi, Shinobi's back, ActRaiser, Wise, and more. Here's what he said on Twitter. It looks like an old shoot 'em up, but is a new game we're developing, harkening back to famous franchises in the 80s. We will release it for MD. Is that Mega Drive?
Yep.
Yes.
Mega Drive Genesis. I'm making the soundtrack and have been back also as a game designer since Beyond Oasis. This will be Ancient's first game since 1994's Beyond Oasis. And the tweet also had a bunch of pictures. It looks like an old school shmup.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
Reminds me of Nemesis.
Okay.
If you guys remember Nemesis.
Yep. This caught my eye because, Streets of Rage and Revenge of Shinobi are two of the staples in my nostalgia pack, Yeah,
isn't Streets of Rage 2 like your favorite game behind Sonic?
Yeah, probably, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, seeing this come to fruition, and like you said, there's a bunch of homebrews, but this is the first one I've seen where somebody that's been involved with the big industry in the past has gotten involved with something like this.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. If you get a chance, check out Twitter, look for that. They don't have a name or anything, but if you Google Yuzo Koshiro, you can probably see that. I just love that stuff like that is still happening, and especially when it's not just your average day, Joe Blow making a game. This is guys that were involved back in the day.
Yeah.
But before we move on real quick, I just want to correct something because it made my brain hurt for a second there.
Okay.
Scott, what's the fourth game that this guy did?
It looks like Wise. Is it Ys?
It's Ys.
Ys. Okay, I apologize.
Oh God, it makes my brain hurt every time somebody says like Wise.
I was going to say he's not the only one that does that. So
I know, but that's why I'm like, just before we move on, I'm like,
sorry.
I gotta help fix the things. I'm about retro gaming education. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
All right, CB, what about you?
Well, first off, let's just talk about this Super Mario Brothers trailer real quick.
Okay.
I don't mean to offend anybody out there, but meh.
Of course you would. I think it looks great.
To me, there's like one thing that I absolutely love about this movie, and that's the fact that Jack Black is Bowser.
That is cool.
Because it works.
It does.
I did not think that would work, and it really does.
The rest of it, I'm kind of like, it's there.
Jack Black being Bowser, I seriously compare to Idris Elba being Knuckles. It doesn't seem right on paper, but holy crap, does it work?
Yeah, it works.
Did you hear that? Kevin said something positive about a Mario.
I can edit this, so.
And yeah, you can edit this. That's pretty crazy.
It's going to be big with the kids. Cool.
It's going to be big with me. I think it looks great.
It's
yeah. I was going to say it's not as big to me as a certain other franchise that's in the movie's production stage right now, but I thought it looked fun.
Yeah,
I'll go see it.
I'll see it, but I'm not going to be happy about it.
Why don't you wait and see it before you decide you're not going to be happy about it?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. It's just weird.
I think it looks great, and I feel like people are starting to settle down a little bit about Chris Pratt being the voice, because
that's because they finally introduced a clip with Charles Martinet's voice.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Well, I'm like, okay, we've corrected part of the problem.
Yeah. Well, you get the first Wahoo, as Chris Pratt, and it sounds fine.
I was gonna say I did not have an issue with it.
I don't either.
It's just,
we're gonna go see it, man. We have to go see it.
I mean, at least I'll see that before I'll see a Fast and the Furious movie with you.
That, and we got to go see Dungeons and Dragons, right? That's
a
must.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Be Still My Heart, that movie.
Yeah, between that,
Bard.
those two, and Sonic 3 coming out, I might actually make some trips to the theater this year.
I know, but
can we all go like dress in character?
Oh my God, please!
Well, sure, we will. I'll just be wearing a t-shirt.
Chris Pine is a bard. Oh, Be Still My Heart.
I think it'd be funny. We all dress up like our D&D characters, and Kevin just dresses up with like his DM board attached to his shirt in front of him.
Oh no, I'm gonna make him dress up as the DM from like the 80s cartoon.
I actually looked for that costume for Jacob's Halloween party, but I couldn't find one that fit.
Oh,
nice. Well, what story do you actually want to talk about besides crapping on the Mario movie?
Star Wars Jedi Survivor has a release date.
Yeah, sure does.
Oh,
it sure does.
So excited! March 16th.
Yeah, pretty excited about that one.
Yeah, I am too, except the fact that it's going to have some heavy competition.
Oh yeah, what else is coming out at the same time?
Starfield.
Is that in March?
It's in that it's in that first quarter window.
So which one, if they came out on the same day, which one are you starting with?
Oh, you already know the answer to that one.
I assume to be Starfield.
Yeah, it's Starfield all day, son.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it would probably be Starfield, but honestly, I would start Starfield and then smash Jedi Survivor out in a weekend and then go back to Starfield.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yep.
What's interesting is that this information was showed on Steam for just like today, and it's since been taken down. So I still feel like that's official, right? Like it was on Steam.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was some pre-order bonuses and deluxe edition content shown, so it'll be. I'm looking forward to that. As much as I'm not a big Souls-like combat guy, the story in that was really good, and I just dropped that one down to easy and just enjoyed the ride.
Oh, plus they're bringing back Fifth Brother from Rebels.
I have no idea what that is.
I don't either.
Well, you remember Second Sister, right?
Yes.
Okay. Fifth Brother is another one of the Inquisitors who is in Star Wars Rebels a lot.
Second Sister was from the Mandalorian? No. It was one of the TV show ones. Wasn't it?
No, I'm confusing myself.
Third sister.
But it was in the show. Oh my goodness! If Zach were here, he would be cursing my name right now for not remembering this. What was the show that came out after Mandalorian?
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. Thank you. It was in Obi-Wan.
I was like, come on, Scott, you can get there.
Shut up! Shut up! It's been a long week,
bro. You're telling me.
Yeah. I want to talk about this price increase from Microsoft about the Xbox first-party games. We know Phil Spencer mentioned that this was coming, and so they're going to be raising the prices of first-party games like Starfield, Redfall, Forza, all that. They're going to be bumping up to $70 starting in 2023. And while everyone's going to rail on this, it's unless they increase the price of Game Pass, that's not really going to affect people like me.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, but at the same token, I kind of expect Game Pass to go up because that is just still a stupid, ridiculous good price.
It's going to be, but here's the interesting thing. All because the price is going up doesn't mean retailers have to abide by it.
That's true, but it's not like they're not going to.
I wouldn't think
Walmart sells all brand new releases for $10 less than MSRP.
Oh, that's a good point.
So a lot of bigger stores will still use it as a loss leader. Like, ooh, you came in to get this, but you're also going to buy this, and this while you're here.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty interesting news. Also, the Final Fantasy 16 getting a mature rating.
That one surprises me.
It does me too.
Apparently they're going for the Game of Thrones appeal on that one because it's rated mature for its sex scenes, drug use, and fantasy hate crimes.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Okay, hang on. Like, when I read that at first, I was just like, does that mean somebody's like hating on chocobos?
No.
I mean, bro,
goodness.
like,
is that really what you thought?
Fantasy hate crimes. Like, I'm hating on the things that aren't me. Like,
I mean, isn't everything every villain does in a
chocobos.
Final Fantasy game technically a fantasy hate crime?
Yeah, normally it's genocidal, and so like I said, that word confused me.
The game includes sex scenes that are not fully shown, intentional deaths. I mean, duh. Torture scenes depicting suffering victims, drug use, prostitution, sexual content that is shown and discussed. All right, I'm in. And hate crimes.
Chocobo hate crimes. Telling you right now, man. But I mean, all these things exist in games already. I feel like this is just a bleeding over of current cultural norms to make sure that people like, oh, they said bad things.
Yeah. And maybe I'll be the old man in the room, the old man that doesn't like change or something. This does kind of bug me a little bit, not a whole lot, but just because Final Fantasy's always been that game that I have no problem playing when my wife or kids walk in the room, or my folks walk in the room when they're visiting or something. It's always been innocent. And
right.
And now that's kind of going away, which, like I said, I definitely understand, because it's a selling point for games now, and everybody else is doing it.
I'm more or less surprised that Final Fantasy is moving into the
hate crimes
content.
Yes. Yeah. That's the biggest thing for me.
Because I'm like, what? If you know from Final Fantasy VII, like the intentional deaths.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, that's normal. Torture scenes, seen it before in Final Fantasy. Drug use, seen it before in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Prostitution, kind of.
Yeah. I mean,
but like, to me, the only thing that's new on this list is the sexual content.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's like sexual content that is shown and discussed.
Yes.
I
I'm like,
don't know what that means.
Hey, I know we just did this, but let's give a play-by-play recap with John Madden
here. No, but I mean, if you think about it, though, we've all grown up with the Final Fantasy series. I mean, you remember like how Harry Potter, when that first book came out, it was very, very kid-friendly, and then as its audience grew up, Rowling started making it more dark as it went along. It's the same thing's happening with video games. I don't know any of my students that like to play Final Fantasy games or role-playing games of any kind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't have too much of a problem with it.
So including sexual content's going to bring them into the fold, apparently.
Well, yeah. If you want to get kids to play your game, put some boobies in it.
Sexual content and fantasy hate crimes.
Yeah.
I want to read this quote from Naoko Yoshida, who is the game's producer. He said, "When trying to tell a story with difficult adult themes, these ratings can end up becoming somewhat of a hindrance, and you find yourself changing things that you wanted to do in the game based on that rating. This time, to make sure that we could tell the story that we wanted in the way that we wanted to, we decided to pursue a mature rating in most of the regions that will be releasing the game." I thought this quote was really interesting because that's something that I'm used to hearing about the film industry.
Yeah.
Because rated R films traditionally don't make as much money as PG and PG-13 movies, or at least they used to. It was a big deal. So the fact that they're actually, they're pursuing it. The fact that he said they are pursuing the mature rating, it's not like they're telling a story and then getting it rated, oh shucks, it's a mature rating. They're actually going for that rating. That's an interesting move.
Yeah, every time I hear that we're pursuing a mature rating means that you're like skirting the like adults only edge.
Yeah.
Hey, that I'm in.
How many adults only games have you actually played, Scott?
Does Plumbers Wear Ties count? No. Is that adults only?
No,
I don't know if I've ever played an adults only game.
Yeah, because there's only like 12 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not many.
Name one.
The original Postal.
I mean, unless you get onto the dark part of Steam, but that's a whole nother.
Oh yeah. Actually, you have played a couple adults only games thanks to Extra Life, Scott.
Oh man.
Yeah, now you remember.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can see the name of them. Yeah.
Oh, I can, but I'm not going to mention them on this family-friendly podcast.
Right. Last thing I want to mention is the new games coming to Game Pass. As of right now, you can play The Walking Dead's final season, totally reliable delivery service.
Which was
by the time you hear this, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga will be available on Game Pass. That's the 6th, as well as Hello Neighbor 2. On the 8th, you'll get Chained Echoes and Metal Hellsinger, which correct me if I'm wrong. I thought Metal Hellsinger was already on Game Pass.
So is Total Reliability Delivery Service.
Maybe it's coming to console Game Pass. I don't.
It's already there.
Oh, maybe. I thought it was as well because I mean I didn't. As much as I raved about that game, I just played the demo, but I know it's on. The demo's on console, so it makes sense for the game.
So
yeah. On the 13th, High on Life and Poisoncraft, and then on the 15th, we're getting a game called Rainbow Billy. But what's really interesting was Hot Wheels Unleashed Game of the Year was supposed to be released on the 15th, and it's since been pulled, which is a bummer because that's the one I was really looking forward to because my finger has been on the trigger to buy Hot Wheels Unleashed for a while, and I just keep pushing it off, waiting for like a sub $10 sale on it. And then I was like, all right, it's going to be on Game Pass, and now it's not.
I think somebody screwed up on that one. Because I think it was supposed to be just Hot Wheels Unleashed coming to Game Pass, not the Game of the Year edition.
Oh.
That would make sense. So if I was reading it correctly, it sounds like they're not just nixing it, they're actually postponing it. I can't say that with certainty, but it feels like it's going to come, maybe it'll come next month instead.
That's why I feel that I think it was supposed to be just the original version. So,
right. But here's the thing. If that game now goes sub $10, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I was bummed about it being pulled too. I was pretty excited when I saw it on there.
Yeah. I played a little bit of that when I was at Extra Life, but I had to play it blindfolded for a challenge.
Yes.
So I actually haven't played it to really know, but it was really cool with the orange tracks.
I played it. It's nice.
Yeah. It's nice. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on. Before we head over to the new games we've been playing, I want to remind everybody about our Patreon. If you'd like to help support the show, do us a favor. Head over to patreon.com/thegocast. It helps us to pay for the show as well as do some giveaways. We haven't put our giveaway yet together for the month of December, but stay tuned to the socials for that because we're due to give another one away. Also, we've got some tiers, and depending on what tier you select, you can get some bonus content. At the $3 tier, you will get one bonus episode. In the $5 tier, you can get 2 bonus episodes. Right now, we've got available for you to listen to one of our trade-off episodes where Kevin and I talked about Link's Awakening and Sonic Generations. Kevin and I have these episodes where we challenge each other to play one of our favorite games that the other has never played, and that was a lot of fun. Also, our Desert Island Games episode where we talked to CJ Moore, and CB and I talked about Retro Outsider, where we kind of went into the nitty-gritty with Little Samson. And again, you can find out how much money I spent on that cartridge. I'm a little embarrassed, but hey, it's all good.
I'm sorry. I feel like you sound like you're in pain every time you talk about that.
Oh, believe me, you should have been there when it actually happened.
Oh yeah, that was a whole ordeal. That story is a crazy story. How that whole happened. That whole thing was super fortuitous.
It seems that every time somebody buys Little Samson, that's how it goes. Because you were there when I bought mine, and it hurt.
Yeah. I did get Power Blade 2 this past week. That was another $800 game. So I'm getting down, and my dad bought one for me, so I'm actually down to 30 games now.
Oh wow!
Which is
getting close.
Getting closer. Yeah. Also, we've got some other episodes coming up in the near future. We're going to be doing a Desert Islands game with Mr. Grant Henry, and Kevin's actually going to come do a beginner's guide to D&D with us. I am looking forward to that. Also, games that aren't for us, whatever CB has cooked up, he keeps threatening to make me play a bunch of games, but
just
it
gotta
never
come
happens.
over, man. Just gotta come over.
And also, Kevin and I are doing another trade-off episode. He made me play a game called Grandia 2, which is originally on the Dreamcast, but he let me play the HD remastered version. And Kevin is playing one of my favorite JRPGs from the Super Nintendo era called Robotrek. I'm really looking forward to hearing his thoughts on that. Again, if you'd like to check out any of that extra content, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. Let's now go ahead and jump into the new games we've been playing. All right, new games up and coming that you can check out this week. We've got Divine Knockout coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC on December 6th. Hello Neighbor 2 coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox consoles, and PC on December 6th. Sky, Children of the Light, PS5 and PS4, December 6th. Chained Echoes PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, December 8th. Dragon Quest Treasures on Switch, December 9th. And lastly, Wavetale coming to PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on December 12th. That is a whole lot of nothing for me because I am going to be catching up on games. Anything on there you guys are planning to check out?
Nah, bro. Got too much.
No?
Too much on my plate.
Yeah, there are a couple that I think they look intriguing, but I'm enjoying myself with what I got now. It's going to be hard to step away.
You got Valhalla. You're going to be good until like March. So yeah, for sure. Well, let's go ahead and jump into Callisto Protocol because that is a game that both CB and I have been playing. Kevin, have you been playing it? I can't remember.
Nope.
Okay.
You should.
So, yeah, this is obviously a hotly anticipated game that CB and I have both been looking forward to. CB, you finished the game. So why don't we start with you? Obviously, we want to kind of stay spoiler free here as much as possible. But what were your early impressions of the game and how it wrapped up?
Holy hell, this game is amazing.
Okay.
It looks incredible.
Let's just put it this way. I booted this game up. And my wife walked by and she's like, "Is that Josh Duhamel?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah." And at first she thought the other guy in the beginning of the game was Dak Shepard.
Oh, I could kind of see that.
And I was like, I looked at it, I had to look it up. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's not him. Man, though, this game is beyond beautiful, especially because I have a new TV.
Oh, that makes everything more beautiful.
This is the first game that I've played with true 4K HDR.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And
well, you picked a good one in terms of what it looks like.
Does it look beautiful?
Now, Kevin, I know you're more of a PC guy, so like, and I know this game has, had all kinds of issues on PC from what I've been reading.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to look even better on PC. But man, the attention to detail in this game is incredible. You remember how I talked about in Dead Space 2, where even though there's a run button, I hardly ever used it just because I just loved walking around and just being in that environment because it just was, I mean, it's not aesthetically pleasing, you know what I mean? It's not a nice place to be.
Right.
But it's insane. Like, you never feel like you're running through a same corridor. There's just so much random stuff going around that is fully textured and looks insanely good. It's one of the best looking games I've played on Xbox in a long, long time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And even the facial animations, like CB said, his wife recognized the actors. They are so well done. They are like, even like when you do you pull up the menu screen or whatever, and he kind of like turns his head over to look at it. It looks like he's standing there watching it, man. Like it really looks like it's him.
No,
I mean, it's slightly fuzzy because he's behind the screen.
There are parts where I'm like, we could have done a little better.
Right. I mean, it's never going to be like full true to life.
Right.
But,
well, any one of the death animations that you know what I'm talking about that involves the head.
They use that same one over and over again.
Oh, no, there's a couple. There's a couple.
Yeah.
But like when part of the head gets caved in, I'm like, that's not what that looks like.
I wouldn't know. I've never seen the
skull
chopped in half.
You can tell, like, that's not how a bone breaks. It just looks weird.
Yeah. But I want to get into this because I know Kevin hasn't played it. He's probably pretty curious just how the combat works, because I was not expecting this combat in this game. It is and I didn't read anything about it. I didn't read any reviews because I wanted to kind of go in blind. But I was expecting Dead Space. And this game is not a shooter first. You wind up getting a ranged weapon. This game is a melee game first, and I was not ready for that or expecting that.
Yeah, that would be that would be startling, expecting Dead Space.
Yeah. What did you think about the combat when you first started? And why don't you explain it to Kevin?
Oh, first off, you already know the type of player that I am. So I was fully ready to go to Pound Town.
Yeah.
So you essentially get a a melee weapon, and you can dodge and like counter. That's your melee. Like that's
so when I hear that,
I
think of Souls. So
no, because there's not a dodge.
No, there's not
there's not
roll.
There's not a roll.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, like you're not rolling out of the way, and that's actually frustrating, especially when you come across characters that do have ranged attacks. Because I'm so used to playing God of War and Evil West, and I'm just instinctively trying to roll out of the way of these things, and nothing happens. So that's frustrating. But the dodge system is something I've never played in a third-person game before. Though it works almost like a QuickTime event without the QuickTime event popping up.
Okay.
So when an enemy comes at you and swings their, either
arm,
claws or
leg,
arms or whatever at you, you have the ability to either dodge left or right or to block the attack by pressing down. And it sounds like such a simple mechanic, but I'm just not used to it in this style of game. It's almost like you're doing a boxing dodge. Like he swings at you and you just kind of like, sway out of the way.
Just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, but you have to you have to look at the telegraphs. But it's not a timing thing. You also don't have to time it, so it's not like you have to get it at the exact spot like a Souls-like game. It's just as long as you are pressing in a direction when that character attacks at you, you just automatically dodge. But the tricky part is, if they lay a second attack, you have to dodge again, but you have to dodge in the opposite direction. So it becomes almost, the way Zach was describing it, or when we were talking about it, is it becomes a rhythm thing. Where you dodge left, and then you have to anticipate the next one and dodge right. And sometimes you get later on with more enemies that will do 3 or 4 attacks, so you have to dodge all of them before you get in that attack. And it took me a minute to really wrap my head around that, because they only give you like one training scenario to like try it out, and then they just like, here you go, you've got it now. And I didn't like it at first. I really didn't like it because that's all you can do at the beginning. Even before you get the weapon that CB alluded to, which kind of becomes like becomes your crowbar, as it were. It's not a crowbar. Well, you start with a crowbar.
Yeah,
but,
that's not a crowbar, sir. That is just a straight up pipe.
Yeah. So you start with like just a rudimentary weapon that you find, but then you actually get something. I'm not going to say what it is, just because it's kind of fun to come across.
Okay.
And And maybe you can explain this to me, CB, because I'm not really understanding what I'm doing wrong. Because sometimes an enemy will attack once, and then you counterattack, or sometimes they'll do twice. I never know when my window of opportunity is. Do you have to look at them
feel
and see
it
when
out,
they stagger? Man.
Just feel it out. Because
there's no rhyme or reason to it.
There's some bosses or some mid boss, like there's some mini bosses where you're like, oh god, like attack. And then, like, you'll notice, like, you talk about, like, having that rhythm where it'll feel off all of a sudden. You're like, and basically it's like, oh, that was my window to attack. So they attack again. You're like, attack, go.
So do they always attack in the same?
Yeah.
Like, if you're fighting that specific enemy, he always attacks that number of times? Is that the thing I'm not understanding? Okay.
Yeah. That's one of the things that irritates me a little, is the fact that I'm like, okay, you run into that enemy for the first time. It's like, okay, now I know his attack pattern for the rest of the game.
I mean, you need some kind of advantage, because this game is tough, man.
Well,
I'm struggling.
Again, though, this is not a game for your style of play.
I know.
And
Dead Space is definitely more my speed.
This game is like my bread and butter style of play.
Yeah.
Just get in there, and because that weapon plus a shotgun. I
haven't got a shotgun yet. I'm actually embarrassed to say that I struggled so much that I hit a certain wall and I did drop it down to easy. And
don't be embarrassed, because when it got to the end of chapter, so there's 8 chapters in this game, just so folks know. When it got to the end of chapter 7, yeah, I had to as well, because the last 2 bosses are no joke.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I'm glad I dropped it down to easy already. I got as far as the point where you were going to bust somebody out, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I'm trying to, you're trying to break somebody out, and there's a spot where you have to hit a switch that's up on a riser area, and then all these gears, things are spinning, and it is just a monstrous wave of enemies. And each enemy that you come across, there's no enemy that is just a walk in the park. Every one you really have to focus. You can't just like melee your way. You can't just mash the button and attack. You have to dodge. You have to do these counters and things. And
do you?
Well, maybe your playstyle is different than me. I just
you've gotten a certain thing that goes on your hand, right?
Yes, but that thing has such a. I mean, that's not a spoiler to say that, right?
No, not really. But I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, because you get a grip gravity / telekinesis glove.
It's totally the telekinesis thing from Dead Space.
Boy, you need to learn how to utilize that thing.
Oh, I've been using it to. My biggest thing to do with the grip, which again, it's just like in Dead Space where you can pick things up. Remember, you could pick up like the tentacles from creatures and fire them back at them and stuff like that.
Yep.
But this one you can actually grip an enemy, which is advantageous if you're fighting against a ranged character that you can't really dodge. You want to bring them closer so that you can take them out first. But the thing that I found the most useful is to pick them up and hurl them into the environment.
That
number one,
fun.
it's super satisfying to see them just like go through some.
There's a lot of
gears.
There's
throw them into the fire.
There's fire. There's giant fan blades, or the occasional spike wall. Or when you find
the trap.
Well, there's the trap, but my personal favorite is throwing them into prison bars.
Oh, that works? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot to manage, though, because, again, you have to kind of know each kind of enemy style. And the tricky part is when they start throwing multiple ones at you, because it just becomes so much to manage. It just becomes so much to manage.
See, this is where Kevin and I have a little bit of advantage over you playing MMO, like MMORPGs. You learn to prioritize ads.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I know this does this does this moves slower than this, so go after this first.
No, I did. So I dropped it down to easy at that point I told you about, and I started enjoying the game a lot more. Because it's not like it's easy is not easy.
No.
Like it's still you can't just like blast your way through or anything like that. You still have to do things, but the enemies don't take nearly as many hits, and you don't take as many, or you're able to take more actually, because you can come across one normal enemy that will wipe you out.
Yeah.
Like just straight up wipe you out.
Wow. Okay.
And
I will say I do take problems with this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that they want you to use that melee weapon.
Mm-hmm.
There is a mini boss event that you run into where I have some fairly beefy firepower.
Mm-hmm.
I went through all of the ammo I had. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking 200 rounds. And then
did you see you had like explosive grenades or something?
Yeah. This thing just like straight up, like when you fight the tyrant in Resident Evil and you just unload everything, but it's like, oh yeah, if I had one rocket round, dead.
Right.
But this thing died to 5 hits with that stupid melee weapon.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So they definitely want you to melee.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I died and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have all my ammo back. And I was like, just got in the pocket, started, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, I'm in phase 2 of this fight now. What? Just kept going, and I'm like, this thing died to the melee weapon, and I shot it with everything. Like this.
Wow.
One of my issues I have with this game is because you do die often, and fortunately and unfortunately, the death animations, when you die, they are Mortal Kombat level of gruesome.
Oh, okay.
They are rough to watch, but I mean that in a good way. They look really cool. However, according to CB, they don't look realistic. But
there's a couple that don't.
They also take. You can't skip them.
Oh,
so if you get into like a fight, and you're gonna die, and you're gonna die over and over and over and over again, it goes through that same death animation. And I know this is first world problems, but some of them take a good 5 to 10 seconds to go through, and you have to sit there and watch yourself die again, and then you have to wait for it to load up.
No, that would irritate me.
So the boss near the end of 7, and I am offering this advice out to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The boss fight, when it starts, you have 2 to 3 seconds. Like, boss fight starts, 2 to 3 seconds, and it's a one-hit kill. The death animation takes about 15 seconds.
Oh,
so when
rough.
you are not prepared, and all of a sudden you're just like, and dead, 15 seconds. And dead, 15 seconds. And dead.
That would get old really quick.
Yeah.
A controller may or may not have been thrown.
Oh, dude, I got really upset. Sometimes I'm like, what do you want me to do here? I can't come up with a thing. The section I told you about where I was, what I'm talking about, where you're at the gate of that place where you're busting somebody out, and you're up on that elevated area, and then they're coming in from the bottom, and all of the upgrades for your grip are down on the ground. So I was just staying up top because I was trying to cheese it where they would climb up, and I would hit them once and let them fall down, climb back up and hit them once and fall down. And I was doing just fine with that until they started coming from the other side, and I didn't have the edge anymore. So, but I was too scared to go down there and get the grip refiller, which probably would have saved me. But
that was like the first thing I upgraded on. That was like making sure I had more battery.
Yeah. One thing we haven't touched on yet is the story, and we're going to be completely spoiler free here. We're not going to really reveal anything. But as far as I'm actually finding that I'm probably about halfway through the game, and I feel like I haven't had any answers given yet, or even any allusions to answers. The first half of the game is you were a guy that flew into this place, you were captured, and they put you in prison, and you're now escaping this place, and you're discovering all these creatures that are attacking you. That's all the story that you're given for a good portion of it. According to CB, I'm coming up on some big reveals.
Well, so that's what happens. Like, essentially, because you don't know why you were captured. You don't know what's going on. So the storytelling in this, to me, in the beginning, I'm like, God, this is weird. Like, why is all this happening to me? And then all of a sudden, you just start getting a flood of information.
Okay.
And
is it fun information? Is it good, like cool reveals? Like, I know it's impossible to not compare this game to Dead Space, but that was some of the fun of that game, was just revealing what was going on with necromorphs. Are you getting that level of intrigue here?
It comes hard and it comes fast on, like, who you are, the people that attacked you in the beginning, what's going on the moon that you're at. Like, it's just such a flood of information, and some of it comes like during fights.
Oh wow.
Okay. And so how far did you think you are, Scott?
I'm about halfway. It's about a 10 or 12 hour game, so I've got 5 or 6 hours.
So halfway, and they still haven't fed you any kind of story beats?
Yeah, I'm still completely in the dark as the character I'm playing is.
Okay.
And the storytelling from Glenn Schofield is brilliant for this, because they feed you just enough that you're like, I need to know more. And so you keep pushing forward until all of a sudden you're just like, boom, like everything happens. And then you're like, okay, now I have to see how this plays out.
Right. I'm not saying there's no story, because you do come across characters. There's I've only met 3 big characters in this game so far, and it's interesting, but I'm not understanding the motivations, or like why this one character hates me. So I don't know why. I don't even know why I've been captured. Like, as far as I know, my character was delivering something, if I'm not mistaken, and we
you are a
landed
space trucker.
basically a space trucker, and landed, and all of a sudden they decided to capture me. And as far as I know, my character's like, what did I do? Why am I going through this?
Okay.
I'm also loving that, like, one of the first people you meet is Sam Witwer.
Yeah. So, I saw him and I'm like, man, I feel like
Killer, what are you doing here?
totally reminded me of Star Killer for sure. The last thing I want to ask you, because you finished it, CB, is and again, I don't want you to give away anything. I know you're terrible at doing this without giving things away, but when this thing wraps up, is it a satisfying conclusion? Do you feel like we're going to be getting more?
I feel
Callisto protocols.
I feel that we're going to get more. I think it would be a terrible idea to call it like Callisto Protocol 2.
Okay.
But I have a feeling we're going to see a sequel.
Okay.
Because if we don't, I'm going to be pissed.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
That's all you need to know.
So you found it interesting, but it wasn't like super satisfying. I mean, you could probably even say the same thing about Dead Space, right? Like it ended, but it didn't.
Yeah. You could definitely say the same. Like, it definitely feels like, are we gearing up for another trilogy of sorts?
Okay.
Interesting.
I will say, though, that final boss fight, so the final boss fight took me an hour.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Because you die a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a long boss fight. But at the end of it, like, you ever, when you're playing a game and you like just everything aligns, everything works perfectly, and you finish it, and there's just that wave of euphoria.
Right.
That was this. It's been a long time for me in a game since I've had that, where like you watch the death animation happen for the final boss, and like you literally just feel all the adrenaline dump in your body, and you're just like,
I finally did.
Oh, like, yes, I've done this. Like, I am a god. Like, that's
so like an Elden Ring kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So someone say they didn't play the Dead Space games, so they don't have that. They don't have that intrigue. Would this be entertaining to them still?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many nods to Dead Space, at least as far as I've played, but I don't even feel comfortable calling it a Dead Space clone because the gameplay feels so different and the setting is so different. I mean, the parallels are there. You know, like the thing on the back of your neck that is your health.
Yep.
And then eventually your grip amount. Yeah, it's horizontal instead of vertical. Even like the health thing that you get out of the little cabinets on the wall is like straight out of Dead Space. The way that you upgrade your weapons is very similar to the way that you upgraded your suit in Dead Space.
Never played Dead Space. Yes, yeah. I firmly believe just the views in this game alone.
Yeah,
because every now and then you look out a portal and you're like a viewport, and you're like, that's Jupiter.
Yeah.
It's
wow.
there.
Okay. Wow.
And the views are stunning.
Breathtaking.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really cool. I feel like I haven't felt that about looking out a window since Last of Us, the original Last of Us, the giraffe scene, because most of that game, you're not really outside a ton, or if you are outside, it's in a confined area. You don't really have a landscape view, and you finally see a landscape view for the first time in that game. You get those moments on multiple occasions in Callisto Protocol. So to answer your question, there's, as far as I can tell, there's no tie to Dead Space. For me, the draw to play this game was because it looked very similar to Dead Space, which is a series I love. But you don't have to have played Dead Space to appreciate it. It clearly stands on its own, and I'd recommend everybody to play it if you like survival horror. This definitely feels more survival horror-ish than Dead Space does too.
Yeah,
inventory management is a pain in the ass.
Yes,
yes, and not in a Resident Evil way where you have to like arrange things, but you can't you can't just stack up as many health things as you want to.
Okay.
You have like one health thing takes up one inventory spot. And as far as I am, I only have like 6 inventory slots. So, you know, and then they do the thing where you find certain items that are sellable when you get to like a station, and you don't want to drop those because that's for a lot of credits that I can use for upgrades, but it's taking up an inventory space as I go. So I'm playing the game like when I see one of those stations, I'm dropping something so that I can go pick up something else that I can sell. I'm selling it, and then I'm going back and picking up the item. You know what I mean?
Yep, I know exactly what you mean.
So you got to play that juggle a little bit.
Every one of those crafting stations, like there was just a litter of everything on the ground as I go back and be like, pick up everything that I'm not going to use.
You're kind of doing the Hansel and Gretel, like follow your trail of upgrades that you drop.
Follow the trail of bodies.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
And that is another thing I do like about this game is I like that it's short. I obviously haven't finished it, but I actually appreciate that it's 10, 12 hours. Even though I paid $70 for this game,
don't care.
The level of detail makes it a little bit more worth it. And the linear nature of it is linear, but it has branching paths within the linear sections to, you know, find upgrades. But it's not linear paths where you just find some other place to go and there's a box there. There are enemies there too. You know, it's a hard fight to get to those extra things that you're getting.
Okay.
And that's one thing that I found frustrating with this game is that I can't figure out which way is the correct path to go, because as a gamer, I like to take the path that is not the way I'm supposed to go to make sure I get everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I never know if this way is the way to go or if this way is the way that's not to go. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, Scott, but like, knowing how you play games and knowing how I play games, there is a section coming that I would just love to sit on the couch next to you and watch your frustration build.
Oh, great. That means it's like got a timer clock.
I was just going to say, there's a timer.
No, there's no timer clock. It's just how... It's just going to be a fun time to watch you struggle.
Great. I don't know, man. That doesn't make me want to keep playing as much because I nearly rage quit this game before I dropped it to easy. I really did.
That's right. I'm going to be honest. Like hearing you guys talk about it, it might
sorry
sound...
because I'm going to say this right now. I'm willing to bet you don't finish this game.
Oh, great. Well, now you're just throwing on the gauntlet.
Yeah,
what were you going to say, Kevin?
Now you got to finish. I was just going to say, you guys weren't exactly selling me on it as you were talking, other than being very pretty.
Hang on. I'm going to say this. So it was Scott's turn to buy a game. But if Scott hadn't, I would have bought this game regardless. And this is probably the first true game that I'm like, I would have paid $70 for this and been happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The game is frustrating in all the right ways. It is.
You're a melee guy. That's the thing. Is you're a melee guy. I'm a range.
Oh no, I am a shoddy no shambles kind of guy.
Yeah.
But
and I don't mean to keep sounding like I'm crapping on this game, but I don't even know if it's fair to call this an issue because clearly the game is going for this, but I struggle so much with the movement of this game. And I think part of the problem is that I just got done playing God of War Ragnarok, and I'm in the middle of playing Evil West, where God of War Ragnarok just feels fluid and smooth, and even though it's, you know, a little bit more realistic than an arcadey type game, it just Kratos moves as soon as you move. And then Evil West, which feels like a 360 or PS3 game, it's very slippery. You know, you're dodging and rolling. It feels like a video game.
Yeah.
I get the impression that what's the name of this developer? I can't remember what it's called now. It's a really cool name, like Vanishing Point or something.
Yeah, I think it is Vanishing Point.
Look it up because someone's gonna write me a letter and be really angry that I can't remember that. But they're going for realism in this one.
Striking distance.
Striking distance. Thank you.
Close enough.
What a cool name for a developer. The movement feels to me sluggish compared to playing, but I think it's because I just got done with God of War and I'm still in the middle of Evil West. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
But there are moments where you'll move the stick and my character won't move for like a half a second. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
But it's got that more realistic feel. Like whenever you jump up onto a ledge or something, he doesn't just hop up there. He does the whole like struggle to get up there and get into place. You know what I mean? Or if you're crawling through a vent, he has to duck down and really kind of get in there and work your way through it.
That whenever he turns a corner event, like he actually like pulls himself forward and then like reaches and struggles through.
Okay.
The movement is definitely very deliberate. It takes some getting used to. And I kind of wish I had started with this game before the others because I feel like it would have made a difference in my. But I'm kind of frustrated with it.
I will tell you right now, like I'm this game definitely is making me struggle with my top 10 list.
Game of the year. Oh, interesting.
Oh wow.
Well, we should move on because we have talked about Callisto Protocol for half an hour now.
Yeah, a little bit.
But let's go ahead and move on to another game that CB has been playing, Pokemon Scarlet.
Yeah.
Shocking that you've got time to play another one of these games.
He's going to lend us that time machine sometime soon.
I know, right?
It's mine. You can't have it.
I have been hearing all kinds of complaints about this game with issues, stuttering issues, and pop-ins and things like that. And I know I think they've patched it.
Yeah.
Since I started hearing those, but
they must have because I haven't had one. Not a
all
one.
Right. So I know very little about Pokemon.
Pokemon. You catch the things.
Is there anything new and exciting that's changed in this? Because I don't even know what to ask.
It's a little more open world.
Oh, wasn't Arceus the last one? That wasn't that like an open world?
It's kind of different than Arceus.
Okay. Am I saying that right, or am I going to get yelled at?
Yes. No, it is Arceus. I don't. This one's kind of weird for me because before it's like, oh, cool, you're a 10-year-old. Let me kick you out of the house. Go catch some imaginary monsters. This one starts. You're going to school.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, I'm like, this is weird, folks. But no, so far it is playing like the typical newer generation Pokemon games. Like it's time to like. I'm like 12 years old. Time to leave home and go catch imaginary monsters, which has always baffled me. Like how the world of Pokemon works.
Yeah.
Like apparently you're just like, cool, you're a preteen. Get out of my house and go catch monsters that
I think that's
apparently live everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's some of the allure to the game.
Since I started playing this version, because I'm trying to like figure this out because all this takes place in the same world, but each game is like in a new area of the world. I'm like, how big is this world?
Oh wow, I did not know that. That's gonna be massive then.
Kanto, Johto, like they're all different sections of the continents of this world. But Pokemon Scarlet, and Violet. So I'm playing Scarlet, and my oldest son is playing Violet.
Okay.
So we kind of do this. We did the same with Sword and Shield. But I'm having fun so far. There's 400 Pokemon in this one. There's like 107 new Pokemon. And overall for the National Pokédex, this game brings the total different types of Pokemon up to 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet about like the 1,000th Pokemon was this goofy looking gold thing or something.
Yeah, I haven't caught it yet, but I've caught like 22 different Pokemon so far. So
I don't know, I just feel like if you have your 1,000th Pokemon, you'd make it something a little bit cooler than what they did.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it yet, but
yeah. There's a TikTok stream where they like talk about naming the Pokemon, and it's always really funny.
Now, you've got both of them because your son's playing the other one. Is there any cross pollination like there was with the the old ones, where like if you collect something here, you can share it with him, and vice versa?
There usually is. I haven't found one yet. But aren't the starters different or something?
We never choose the same starter. So I choose Fuecoco, which is a fire crocodile. I done chose. I don't know what AJ
making up words again.
I don't know what AJ picked yet, so
But I thought they had different starters. I thought it was when you guys had me play red and...
But starters, you could choose. So when you played red or blue, you could choose Charmander, Squirtle, or Bulbasaur.
And that was the same in both games?
In red and blue. The only difference between red and blue was there was certain Pokemon that you could only get on blue, and there was certain ones that you could only get on red.
Okay, I've been misinformed. I thought that
same here,
that they all had different starters, and that's what the bigger difference was.
The only ones that you were stuck with starters was Pokemon Yellow, you got Pikachu. Let's Go Pikachu, you got Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee, you got Eevee.
Gotcha.
Beyond that, like with all the main Pokemon games, you get a choice of 3. So this one, it's Quaxley, which is like a little water duck. Sprigatito, which is a like leaf cat. And then Fuecoco, which is a fire crocodile.
That sounds cool.
So I chose the fire crocodile. So AJ's got it.
Game,
huh?
Didn't this game sell like 10 million copies like in the first 3 days or something like that?
That's Pokemon, man.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because God of War Ragnarok was boasting that it sold 5 million copies in a week. And then here comes Pokemon. Like,
yeah, dude, it crushes every time they release a main game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know numbers, but I'm sure Pokemon is probably Nintendo's biggest.
Yeah, like Mario is definitely like still number 1, but Pokemon is quickly coming.
But they haven't made like I say this in air quotes, traditional Mario games since Odyssey. Like, you know, they're cranking out Pokemon games. Where's my next 3D Mario game?
Clearly, Pokemon does better.
Yeah, apparently. So, clearly, you recommend this game?
I love it. Dude, the Pokemon are just hilarious. Like, I caught a dog that's made of dough. Can you guess what its name is?
Dough Dog? I don't know.
Fido.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
is it spelled D-O-U-G-H?
F-I-D-O-U-G-H. Fido.
That's pretty great.
This game is just filled with Scott Clarkisms.
Well, hey, all right.
That's why I'm like, how does Scott not play this game? Because like all the Pokemon have dumb dad joke names.
There you go. That's pretty funny. I like it. All right, well, moving on. I want to talk a little bit about some hardware that Kevin has been working with. The people over at EPOS, who we've been talking about their headsets and their the earbuds. I talked about those a couple years ago. They sent Kevin some hardware for PC. It is the GSX 1000 second edition, and I tried to have him explain it to me over text what this is. I am not a PC gamer. So, Kevin, can you enlighten everybody what this is and how it works?
So basically, this is the easiest way to put it is it's kind of like an amplifier for your sound system and for your headsets. Mm-hmm. It's built more with the headset use in mind, but it is usable with regular speakers as well. And just to kind of clarify, you can use it on consoles like PlayStation, Xbox, but you would have to you will need a different. You'll need like an adapter. I'm not an electrician or anything like that. I don't know how this works, but has something to do with UAC1 and that, whatever that means. And one doesn't support the other, vice versa.
Gotcha.
But for PC gaming, this thing is really quite cool. You just plug it into the back of your PC. It's a little, like maybe probably 4-inch by 4-inch square. You plug it in via USB-C to the back of your computer or wherever, and your headphones, speakers, everything just runs through it. And so it basically, the premise with doing, it's called a DAC, a digital to analog converter for a PC, is it takes that job away from the CPU and lets your CPU use what it would be doing for that on other processes. So basically it's just like having a sound card in your computer if you had that, but it takes all of your audio and sends it all works through this instead of the computer itself.
Oh, so you're taking away processing power so that it can focus that power more on running the game.
Yes, that's the primary focus of this. This, however, has some really cool features that the biggest one that I thought was really great was it has its own designated chat channel. So it has a sound channel for the sound coming from the game. Then it has its own channel for the chat when you're in a group with people. So you can, say you log into Discord to go play an online game. Okay. When you log into Discord, you set your input and output to the EPOS GSX 1000 second edition chat channel.
Oh, okay.
And then you go into the game and the game plays regular, and you will adjust the volume of the game on the aluminum dial. It actually feels really good to just play with the volume because it's a really good build. But you control the main volume of the game with the regular controller on the face of this, and then there is a little dial on the side that is only for chat. So if you were having problems hearing someone, you could turn that knob up, and it doesn't affect the game volume. I know a lot of times I've had to, like when Skylar and I are playing, he'll do something with the settings or something, mess them up, and someone has to go into Discord and turn them up and then go turn the volume of the game down and so on and so forth. And it's just kind of a pain in the neck.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can do that on console, like in the Xbox menu. I can go in and adjust like the chat mixer versus the game itself mixer, but it takes me a few button presses to get there. This sounds like it just makes it easier to have something right in front of you to adjust those on the fly.
Yes, very much so. That and this does support 7.1 surround, which is really freaking cool with your headphones on. And there's so many different settings. There's like the one nitpick I do have is it has preset EQs. Okay, for heavier bass or heavier treble, whatever. With the touchscreen and everything, I would think it would be somewhat easy to have a customizable EQ to have it to set your own settings. But I mean, the ones that are there aren't bad. I just thought that would be a little more cool to have in a feature like this.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
can I ask a stupid question?
Yeah.
When I hear 7.1 surround sound, and this is me just knowing what I know about home theater, to me, 7.1 is I've got one center channel, and then two sets of 3 speakers going around me, and then whatever's coming out of the TV itself, right? That's 7.1.
Yeah.
So how does 7.1 work if all you're wearing is headphones?
You have to have 7.1 set designated headphones. They actually have different speakers in them. Like if you have I borrowed Chris's for this, the EPOS headphones to use with
those have 7.1 in them.
Yes, they do have 7.1. And if you look at the actual inner ear, you'll see and you can how it has that lining and you can feel it with your finger. There are different speakers in there. And one of them is directly in front of your ear opening. And and then there are others that kind of go up around the back of the ear and all that fun stuff.
Oh, interesting.
And so, I mean, that's a great question because I thought the same thing. I've never had 7.1 headphones before or had them with that environment. So when I wanted to try...
These are the hybrids that he's got, CB? The EPOS hybrids, which, you've reviewed for us in the past and
the
loved
H3
those
hybrids.
Headsets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I booted up games to try, because I really wanted to get into that chat mode, and I just thought that was so cool. And when I booted him up to play with Logan, we jumped in chat and we started playing a game called Second Extinction, which is it's like a party-based hunting dinosaurs, mutant dinosaurs type thing, and it is very sound critical. So like you'll hear the dinosaurs behind you. I mean, they give you warnings basically before they get there, and you crap your pants. And you legitimately hear with this and these headphones, you legitimately hear it from behind you, running up behind you. You can hear their feet steps hitting the ground as they come running towards you. The explosions that happen off in the distance will be very defined, whether it's in front of, to either side, behind, any angle. I was really quite floored with how that played out, and it made just playing that game a whole lot different than just playing with regular speakers.
Man, I'm jealous. I want to be able to play some game with that kind of headset.
I'm serious. Like, if you have the ability to use 7.1 properly for gaming, like it sounds like this. I mean, the GSX like really helps amplify it more.
Yeah,
it is scary how much of an advantage it can give you in certain types of games, especially if you're playing games like Call of Duty competitively.
Yeah.
Where you can hear people coming up the stairs on your left, and you can also hear somebody coming from like slightly angled in front of you to the right. But
at the same time.
But you'll hear them, and you'll actually be able to gauge the distance on like how far each of them is.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the other thing, this is I was quite impressed with how this is built too. Like the main housing, I think, is plastic, but the dial is actually aluminum, and the controls are all touchscreen except for that little scroll for the chat designated chat audio. But and the other really cool thing is it's control. I would never have like a real use for this, but it turns on and off, like it goes to sleep and wakes up simply by emotion. You just wave your hand in front of it and it turns on. Turns off.
That's really cool. Very high tech.
And it's right there. You just set it next to your keyboard or whatever you're playing with and hit the buttons as you want to change the sound settings. And it's really quite awesome.
So this sounds like something that you're going to be using on a regular basis.
Very much so. My kids want to use it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I pick up another one?
Maybe. I definitely might.
Christmas is coming up. Again, that is the GSX 1000. It is the second edition. It is from EPOS, which is spelled EPOS. If you are into PC gaming and would like some quality audio, highly recommend checking that out, it sounds like. And also, like I said, check out our website for our reviews of the headsets that CB checked out in the past, the H6 hybrid headsets. I got a chance to check those out as well. They are pretty fantastic. So really digging the stuff that's coming out of EPOS. I reviewed those earbuds. Those are becoming my AirPod replacements.
Well, didn't you checked out the I checked out the H6 hybrids. You checked out the H3s.
No, you checked out both of them.
Well, I know.
Remember, you did the review.
Because don't you have the H3s currently?
I do. You let me try them out after you reviewed it.
Yeah,
but
dude, I'm telling you, like when Kevin borrowed those H6s from me, like because I used to have HyperCloud X's. These things to me just I don't like them anymore.
Yeah, I thought you gave those to me.
Oh no, I will hunt you down. Those headphones to me are like
they're nice.
Oh dude, they're so I seriously want to buy, like, if they make a newer version of them, I will probably be there. Like nice. I never understood the wants and needs of a $200 headset until you
tried it on.
Till you try them and then you're like, how did I live my life without these?
Yeah, for sure. That's how I feel about the earbud ones too, especially because I can use them for my everyday earbuds and also use them with gaming. It's just a match made in heaven. Those are really cool. So, well, Kevin, thank you so much for checking that out. I really do appreciate it. Makes me want to be a PC gamer. Just get that awesome. You need to go play a Sacrifice with them now.
Oh, that's actually that was on the list of things to do. Yes.
Yeah. I'd be curious to hear that goes. All right, moving on. Before we get into our topic of the week, I would like to remind everybody about where you can follow the Gaming Outsider on social media. First off, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast is our Facebook group. We got lots of cool people over there, and I try to keep that updated with news and all of our episodes and everything like that, and even just fun things that start conversations. So be sure to check that out. Also post everything on our Discord server. There's a link for that in the show notes for this episode. And if you get a chance, you're listening to this episode, you like what you hear, we really appreciate it if you give us a review. It helps us get the word out there to other people that haven't discovered the Go yet, and we will also read it on the show for you as well. Lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. You'll find all of our episodes as well as all of our written content that you can find on there. And we'll be finishing up with some last-minute reviews before we wrap up the year, so be sure to check that out. Let's go ahead now and jump into the week's From the Outside In topic. It actually worked out quite well having Kevin here, because this week's topic was actually a suggestion from Kevin himself. He wanted to know what games we wish we could play, but don't have the ability to do so. This could be because we don't have the correct hardware, a game was canceled, or maybe the game simply isn't available to play anymore due to server shutdowns or lost code. I thought this was an interesting topic, and I'm looking forward to hearing answers from my co-hosts as well as our community. So first off, I'm curious if this is really a big issue for you guys. As much as I'd love to play some games I've never had a chance to, there's just so many games available. It's kind of overwhelming. Is this really an issue for us as gamers to not be able to play some of these games?
Well, the whole reason that I kind of thought of this is as I was going through my Steam library, there was a game that I found that I had played way back, like early 2000s on PC. Mm-hmm. And it was so cool, but I never got to finish it because my computer took a crap. And I mean, back then things weren't like they were now where you could just swap drives and all that fun jazz. So it was gone. So I downloaded the game, bought it, downloaded it, and I was all excited to get back into this. And I found out that basically since updates were done, it was basically unplayable, and because it wasn't supported anymore. And I would have had to go and do a whole bunch of modifications to different things, and that's not me. So while it is probably, yes, a first world problem, I just like, I wanted to play that game so badly because I never got to complete it way back then. And there are other games that had come up too. Like the game I'm speaking of is called Sacrifice. And it was a cool little RTS with different, it was very different for its age. But like I said, I maybe got halfway done with it, I think. And I never got the glory of competing it because of what happened.
Stevie, what do you think?
I mean, for me, it sometimes is a problem. There's games out there that I want to play, but due to certain issues like hardware availability.
But you got everything.
Oh God, I wish. I mean,
you're a lot closer than the rest of us, man.
Fair, but there are still some things that elude even me. But I mean, it in today's day and age, it doesn't become as big a problem for me because there is such a plethora of things to play out there. But there does come a time where certain games that I'm like, I really wish I had the ability to play this, but I don't. Like Panzer Dragoon Saga, man.
Yeah.
It's
gone.
Find.
Yeah.
And it's not like it can be remade.
I was going to say, that's the one that they lost the code to or whatever, right?
Yeah, this original source code.
Yeah, yep.
Can't they reverse engineer or something? I don't know how game development works.
They could if you could find an original development kit and had the passcodes to unlock everything.
Gotcha. I don't know how any of it works. It's all Greek to me. But I mean, CB, you do pretty much own every possible console I can think of. So
not even close.
I have to assume any games on your list won't be because of hardware limitations. What are some games that you wish you could play but can't?
Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Yeah.
There's a few. Oh God, I was just. Dear God, for anybody who's listening, if you find a copy of this, let me know. But Dino Park Tycoon for the 3DO.
Yeah.
It is. So I love collecting for the 3DO, and this thing is beyond stupidly rare to the fact that some people don't think that it was never even actually released.
Oh wow.
I have seen 2 copies in my life, and like they just don't show up. But I mean that's what it is for a lot of for physical games. Like that's what it is for me. It's things that are just so obscure they're damn near impossible to find.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like the bigger thing for this is the games that never got a chance. StarCraft Ghost.
I didn't know that was a thing.
God, I wanted to play that so bad. Yeah, StarCraft Ghost was a big one for me. Like to this day and age, it still bothers me that game never got made. Well, it never got finished. Star Wars 1313.
I knew that was going to come up somewhere.
Yeah. It was the image I used when I posted the question.
Like
especially with how like far in development that game looked.
Yeah. Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yep.
Where is my game?
I haven't heard of that game in years.
Yeah.
That was like a big reveal at E3 that year.
I know. Like I'm actually getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. Because
we never even saw any gameplay, did we?
Yes,
I think
we have.
There was like one shot of running around on something, and that was all I ever saw.
They've shown a little bit.
Have they?
Here and there. But
I missed it somehow.
It is supposedly still in production. Half-Life 3.
Well, yeah, I mean, just
dear
any
God.
third game from Valve.
Yeah, any. But like, oh my God, I want. Well, even because they leave Half-Life 2 episode 2 on such a cliffhanger that they're like, cool, we'll make a VR game. And I'm like, can you just make 3, please?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why won't you do this?
That's actually a game that's on my list, CB, is Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah.
Because
I've got a quest.
Yeah. I have heard such positive things about that game, and I'm so curious because I've heard that game does things with VR that is just incredible, and I want to see what it is. I want to see what they're talking about. So
why can't you? I thought you had VR.
I have VR, but it's only available on the PC version.
Well, you can buy that $80 cable, can't you?
I have the $80 cable. My laptop that is 9 years old cannot handle it.
All right, gotcha. I gotcha.
Like as soon as I plug my Quest into my laptop just starts screaming at me, like, stop this now.
So it sounds like what we need to do is we need to take your headset up to Kevin's and do it that way.
I'm game.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
I didn't know that was an option. Let's do that. He's like our one of our only PC players on our team here.
That lovely basement. Oh my God, there's so many things on PC I would love to play too.
Now, when you play, because I haven't messed with it, but if you play on PC, you can play on the headset and then somebody can watch what you're doing on the monitor, right? Because that's one of the things with the Quest 2. I know you can like stream it to Facebook, or whatever, and watch that way, but that's just not the same. I don't know.
Yeah. And then I have one more for you. That's
okay.
A real deep cut.
Okay.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings: The White Council.
I do not know that game.
So around the time that the War in the North game came out.
Don't remember that one either.
I recognize the name, but I can't think of.
So there was a side story where basically another character went and found Sauron before the tower was rebuilt. It was before Shadow of
Sauron.
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 Sorry,
Sauron?
I've been watching videos.
Sauron.
I've been watching videos where it's all narrated by an English guy, and every time he says Sauron, it's Sauron. It sounds weird. But it was an MMORPG version of the
Sounds
Lord
like a
of
Mega
Rings.
Man villain, Sour Man.
Sour Man. But it was an MMORPG set in the Lord of the Rings universe.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Where basically you got all of your quests and everything from the White Council, which is Gandalf, Saruman, Galadriel, Elrond.
Yeah.
I was like, that would be really cool.
Why can't you play that one? Is it just the servers are dead?
Vaporware.
Oh, really?
Never got made.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, it never got made.
Got some screenshots that looked utterly gorgeous, and they were like, "Nope, canceled."
I wonder why. Like, Lord of the Rings sells.
I don't know, man. Star Wars sells. Star Wars 1313, guys. StarCraft. Yep. StarCraft at the biggest time was like one of the biggest phenomenons on PC, and StarCraft Ghost got canceled. To this day, no one still knows why.
I feel like we'll get a book written about that someday.
Half-Life 2. 2 of the biggest PC games of all time. Can't make a third one for some reason.
You know, I wouldn't be as upset. Again, I haven't played those games to know the cliffhanger you're talking about, but there's a cliffhanger. Like, how are you going to leave a story with a huge cliffhanger?
Yeah, that's the part that gets me.
Metroid Prime 4?
That was going to be that. You're stealing ones on my list. That's.
I mean, to this day, I'm like, does it exist? Does it not?
Well, they started over, so they literally started from scratch all over.
When you
again.
say we started over, usually that means we're heading towards cancellation.
I mean, we haven't heard a thing about that game, and people have pre-ordered that game. You remember how like that Sands of Time remake? They started refunding people's pre-orders. Oh. Nintendo's not doing any of that.
You mean like my Duke Nukem Forever receipt that I still have from when I actually originally pre-ordered the dang game?
Oh, did you get a refund?
No, I kept the receipt when I pre-ordered it like 12 years before that game came out.
I didn't remember it was that much of a development, and it still worked?
It was 13. No, because the place that I originally pre-ordered it from doesn't exist anymore.
Was it like Circuit City or something like that?
No, I pre-ordered it from KB Toys.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a deep cut for you. When I pre-ordered a game from KB Toys that didn't even survive.
Yeah. Man, I forgot about KB Toys. Holy cow.
Those games that I pre-ordered at Media Play.
Oh man, Media Play was awesome.
Yep.
I don't know if that was a nationwide thing. That was just a local. That was a
No, believe it or not, the Media Play here was the prototype #1 store. They eventually made 25 stores, but Rockford was #1.
Look at that.
Wow.
What about you, Kevin? I know you talked about that one game already, but did you have any others on your list?
Not that I could think of really right off the top of my head. There was all kinds like I missed the whole PlayStation 3 lifespan because of something called WoW. There was a time where I was like, I wish I could go back and play games like the original, like Assassin's Creeds and stuff. But those are, they're available. It's just like, do I have the time to put into them now? But
I know one. Crusader of Senti.
Oh yes, yep. That's a thing that unless it comes out on the Switch Online, that's never going to get touched by me.
That will never get put on Switch Online.
Yep.
Because you will have collectors riot.
But yeah, for people that don't know, that's an old Sega game. That is the what's the word?
The Holy Grail.
Yeah, the Holy Grail of Sega collectors games. It was an RPG from I want to say 91.
Wasn't it like an early Atlas game too?
Yeah, yes, it was. It is Atlas. I know that because I could see the picture in my head. Yeah, so there are things like that. Marvel Land, another game that I could probably try and find out there, but I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's what I feel. It's more. It's not so much a hardware or software limitation. Like majority of this is going to be just vaporware.
Yeah,
stuff that was in development but then got canceled for one reason or another.
Like Scalebound?
Oh my God. What, like I remember like when that game was announced, they showed what they had, and I'm like, this is amazing.
Gameplay, like legit good looking gameplay.
Well, remember like what was it last year? Everybody was like, oh my God, is it finally happening? Are they finally resurrecting Scalebound? And then nothing.
One of these years at either E3 or the Video Game Awards or something, it's going to be the year of the revival. Like, remember when what was the game that came out? Not Shadows of the Colossus, but the Last Guardian. They're like, Last Guardian's never going to happen. And that year they said that's happening. Like one of these years, they're going to announce Portal 3. They're going to announce Half-Life 3. They're going to say Scalebound is coming back. Star Wars 13,
Dude,
like all these games like that.
If these developers were smart, like just look at the zeitgeist of like vaporware.
Yeah.
Like everything that everybody's clamoring for and just be like, scroll, grab one. And you have an immediate Game of the Year contender.
Yep. I mean, just by sheer popularity, because that's what everybody's going to talk about.
I swear to God, if somebody came out and said, hey, we're making StarCraft Ghost, every PC player on the planet would immediately be like, what are the specs so I can buy it now?
Yep. Yeah. and if not, get a PC ready for it.
I was going to say, that'll sell cards, won't it?
Yep.
If they announced StarCraft Ghost tomorrow, I would go out, I would sell my PS5.
Oh my God.
And buy a new PC.
Wow.
Just for Star Trek, just for Ghost.
Just for Ghost.
Nice. Well, for me, I feel like I am not wanting for games because even though I don't own that many, if there's ever anything I want to play, I pretty much know that CB can figure it out. If he doesn't have it in his collection, he's going to add it to a wish list somewhere, and he's going to pick it up. That's one of the nice things about being friends with Chris is I can call up and say, hey, I want to play this game for a Patreon episode. Do you have a copy of it? Yep, sure do. So, when it comes to console, I mean, he doesn't have everything, but he is a lot closer than most people when it comes to availability.
I love the fact that you're always like, you have like every console. I'm like, bro, I'm not even halfway there yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so many obscure consoles out there and games.
But the majors, I got the bases covered.
I was gonna say, I don't think the Pico counts.
Hey, I do have one.
I know
you do.
But it's like the Radio Shack Tandy 1000. Right. Stuff like that I'm like, I don't got one.
The biggest one for me that came to mind when Kevin brought this to light is the those old point and click adventure games, like the Monkey Island games, and there were ones based on Indiana Jones and Loom and all the like the Dig. I know they're available on Steam, but I have a Steam Deck. I don't have an actual PC that'll play it. I'm a Mac guy. So until I like bite the bullet and actually have somebody build me a PC rig, I'm super limited with a lot of these games that I can play. I would love to go back and play those old games that I played when I was a kid, or the ones I missed out on when I was a kid.
But you have a Steam Deck, which should be able to play them.
They should, but they don't. Like I'm telling you, I literally bought the LucasArts point and click adventure collection with the intent, I bought it blindly because it was on sale. I think it was on sale for like $4 or something. I bought it just so that I could play it, and it's not playable on the Steam Deck. I tried. Not everything is playable on a Steam Deck.
I would seriously be curious as to whether or not the dock would let you do that.
Oh, okay. I mean, I want to play it with a mouse. I don't want to play it with, touch screens or anything like that.
But I have one. I will actually go hook it up and see, because I've got it hooked up to my TV. And I might actually hook up to a keyboard and mouse too.
If that's the case, I may be looking in the market for one of those docks then, because it'd be great to just sit back on my couch with a mouse and keyboard. I don't even really need a keyboard.
Yeah,
just need a mouse. I would go play those games. I feel like CB stole my other answers. Obviously, Star Wars 13. Those are the big ones. Mostly PC games. There's a lot of stuff.
I still don't understand why 1313 got canceled.
I feel like there's some political reason that we are not privy to that has to.
Unless it's like the game was secretly funded by Kim Jong-un or something. I have no political idea why that game never got made.
I don't mean politics in terms of government.
No.
Politics.
I understand that, but I'm saying, like, to me, that is the only thing that could have like prevented that game from being made at the time, because they had the licensing rights, they had everything. So what got in the way? It had to be some evil dark secret to like prevent it.
Yeah.
Because nothing else makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody out there does.
And most of my other answers are going to be things that aren't necessarily because I want to play them, but because I want to own a copy of them for a collection, but I know it's never going to happen, like stadium events. Like I would just love to have a piece of that, but
own it.
I know I own the game. Like I said, it's not about playing it. I can play it on, I mean, even like the Nintendo World Championship cart. I've played the cart because you have a repro of it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like I want that piece of history in my collection, but there's no way I'm dropping that kind of cash. So I think I saw that one for $18,000 last time I looked at it. So
no, you were standing next to me when we saw the one in person.
No, I'm talking about stadium events. The one in person we saw was 6 digits.
Yeah,
the NWC cart was 6 digits, which is just.
I got to touch it.
Yeah, you did.
I look right at the guy. I'm like, can I touch that? Sure. Okay. Thank you. Feel good.
Well, believe it or not, I'm sure you're not the only one that ever asked that question.
Probably not. But you know what?
The look on the guy's face made it seem like he was.
Oh. Yeah, like the guy looked at me like, "What?" I'm like, "Can I touch it?"
Well, let's see what the community said. We'll start over on Facebook. CB, why don't you start things off?
Well, Kyle Boggs wants to inform us Elder Scrolls 6 or anything else that was promised for 2021 that has now been pushed to 2023 or TBD.
Mm-hmm.
I get that my response isn't the point of the topic, but that's where I am. Almost every game that I specifically purchased the new systems for has been pushed back at least once.
Yeah, I got a buddy that bought a Switch just to play Metroid Prime 4.
Oh, wow.
That's like why he bought it, in anticipation of that game, and we don't even know if it exists anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 3. that one finally surfaced, though.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Kevin?
Tim Paulin?
Mm-hmm. New Patreon subscriber, by the way.
Pitfall. Come on, Activision and Atari. Get it on one of these collections.
I'm shocked that's not available on those collections.
Me too. I did not know it wasn't until he just pointed it out.
I think it's on one of the old collections, but like we're talking like PS2 era collections.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. How is that not on one of the collections for the modern systems?
Well, I mean, how is Pong not on any of the modern systems?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Is there a market for it?
Because we never get Pong on. Pong is kind of in the Atari Mania game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So is Pitfall on there?
No.
Oh,
which one?
Pitfall.
Hmm.
Yeah, like there are those certain gems from like the Atari era that just seem to elude everyone, and no idea why.
Yeah.
Like an original version of Adventure.
I would love to go back and play that again.
Yeah.
I never did.
It's just a maze. It's literally all it is. It's a maze. But when you were a kid, you were imagining that little square was a dude going and picking up a real sword and killing dragons that look like ducks.
Well, and see, that's the thing is like all those Atari era games, Atari still has the rights to like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And somehow just hasn't, especially with the 50th anniversary, man, like just dump them all onto one thing. Because I guarantee you those file sizes are not big.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Kevin, have you ever seen any screenshots of the original Adventure?
I don't think so.
So the dragons I was talking about that are shaped like ducks,
yeah,
they if they catch you, they actually swallow you, and your character is literally just a square. And it's really funny because the way that they design the dragons is that their stomach is the exact shape of the square that is your character. So when he swallows you, your little square character just like goes inside his stomach, like, but you see it slowly go down his gullet. And then I just, even as a kid, I was like, why is that dragon's stomach square shaped? Moving on,
awesome.
Josh Steima says, the OG Crisis on PC. My computer would have blown up even trying to install it way back then.
Yeah.
It blew a lot of computers up way back then.
Like, actually, that was a thing? Like, it actually blew up?
Or just a thing?
I still vaguely remember the smell of my melted power supply.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That was the thing in the PC world back at this point in time. It was literally, if your computer could play Crysis, that was, you had the best there was.
I bought, no, if your PC could handle Crysis, because you couldn't max out those sliders back then.
No,
because it was funny because you'd have be like, oh yeah, man, I got like one of the best PCs on the market, and you'd watch them max out the sliders, and their PC would just lock up and kill itself.
Wow.
Yep.
You just wonder why I don't like PC gaming.
Well, that game was ambitious,
yes,
for the time, to say the least.
I did not get to play it when it was fresh.
No, I mean the fact that even the re-release on Switch bogged it down.
Really?
The frame rate, like it would drop to like 4, 5.
Ouch.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Let's see. Edwin Smith, Scalebound has got to be that game for me.
Yep.
Looked like it was going to be such a fun game, being able to ride around on that dragon, and then they canceled it. I was mad.
I think we all were.
Yeah, you and everybody else. Because the only thing that I could compare that game to, and this is sad, is Lair on the PS3. That stupid launch title.
I don't remember that one.
Oh,
the
man.
name sounds familiar, but I can't remember what it was.
So you were a dragon knight, and you would pilot your dragon because it had the motion controls for the PS3.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that now.
Yeah.
And like it's a fairly easy game to find, but I'm like, why? And then you saw Scalebound, you're like, why didn't we get that?
Yeah. I think some of the people were turned off by like the kid was like, had headphones and had a weird sense of humor or something. And I was like, I don't care, I want to play the game.
To me, Scalebound looked like a dragon version of the Neverending Story.
Oh,
wow!
Because I'm
like that vibe.
Well, I mean, it's essentially Falcor, Luck Dragon.
Yeah, sure.
Like a modern day kid gets to ride a dragon.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. No, I see where you're coming from now. Grant Henry. Criterion had an extreme sports game deep in development back in 2014. They even announced the project at E3 with a video feature. Unfortunately, EA canceled the game and rolled the team into other projects. This would have been the last game with the original Criterion team. Could have been fun.
I had never heard of this game. I don't remember that E3 when they announced this, but yeah, it was another one that looked like it was pretty well in development and just gone.
Yeah, I don't remember this at all.
Have we ever had an extreme sports game like that? Like,
I don't think so.
I can't think of any
extreme sports like hang gliding, things like that.
If I remember right from the video, there was a little bit more. It was like something with a helicopter. Let's see. I'm looking through it, but I just think of extreme sports like, I don't know, kayaking and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, the obscure
ATVs
ones. Yeah, that's where my mind went.
Yeah, just things that we don't have your typical.
Yeah, we got this game. It's called Riders Republic.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay, all right.
Well, I mean, we kind of got that like between Steep and Riders Republic.
Yeah. I never played Steep. You were big on that one, weren't you?
Dude, I still love Steep.
Yeah.
I'm still mad that I haven't bought Riders Republic yet.
Next comment comes from Sean Coates. He says, I'm a fan of the TV show The Orville, and there's a game on Steam called Orville, the Interactive Fan Experience. It was made completely independently by fans and not endorsed, at least officially, by the show creators. But it offers a full 3D exploration of the interiors of Starship Orville, complete with an in-depth character creation, a Sims-like customization of decorating crew quarters, and also has some third-person Gears of War-style multiplayer modes featuring different alien factions seen on the show. Unfortunately, I don't have a PC that's fully capable of running games. I wish I had at least a half-decent PC that can run it, as it looks amazing, considering it's a fan project. I know I'm missing out on some great PC exclusives. Also, sorry for my history of long-winded responses each week. We got you, Sean. It's all good. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Sean. There's a lot of titles, and that's why I picked up a Steam Deck, which is funny because I haven't touched my Steam Deck in
weeks,
a couple months, probably at this point. There's just too many games that I'm just trying to clean up. But Christmas break is coming, brothers. It's coming. So
I swear, when you're not like on break, you should just give me the Steam Deck because I will play the crap out of it.
You're welcome to it. Welcome to it. I mean, right now I got to play Callisto. I got to play Sonic. I got to play Grandia 2. I'm gonna be busy for a while, so if you want to take it for a while, go for it. Ooh. It used to be my Vampire Survivors machine until I came to Xbox. So
yeah. All right. Well, Darren Allen, I would really like to play the first Pikmin game. I keep hoping that Nintendo will bring GameCube games to the online service.
Oh, that would be great.
I'm pretty sure you and like the rest of the planet would love that.
Yeah.
But as much of a struggle it was for them to even move N64 to the online service.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure anything like disc-based forward, they're just going to do like remasters or collections.
Well, yeah, but I think that Darren would be even happy with that at this point. Yeah. Isn't Pikmin 3 on Switch?
Yeah.
But everyone seems
I'm surprised they haven't
the
done
original.
A Pikmin 1 and 2 collection yet.
Yeah. That would make sense.
Especially, like, isn't, like, 4, like, supposedly around the corner as well?
I don't know. I have not heard, but that doesn't mean anything, so.
All right. Paul Hine has a few here. There was this fantastic Enterprise D walkthrough simulator that someone had been developing. You can find a video of it on YouTube. They would have been awesome to have been developed to completion. It was supposed to also support VR Alt 2 eventually. Where is my Indiana Jones game with Uncharted levels of production?
Hey, it's coming, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have missed the latest Ratchet and Clank. I loved all those games and think I've only missed the last 2. Sadly, no PS4 or 5. Last PS was 3 for me.
Man, Rift Apart was such a fun game.
I did enjoy that.
Oh, it's a gorgeous looking game. I was talking to a buddy of mine today that picked it up, and he said it's the closest he's felt to playing a Pixar movie or a high level animated movie.
That's a good way to put it.
I completely agree with, like, I would love to have that Enterprise D walkthrough because, like, that would be fun. I remember bringing this up to you, Scott, but on the Quest there was supposedly a simulator that they were building.
Yeah, it was like what do you call it? Bridge simulator.
No. There was one where you could build your own game room.
Okay, yeah.
But somebody had imported all the box art.
Mm-hmm.
So you could build your own game room to however you wanted. Like, it was infinite specification.
Nice.
But as you could line the walls with all the box arts and everything. So as you're going through your own collection in VR, you could pick up the box art and then, like, look at it. But they ran into some licensing issues.
I can see that being a thing.
Yeah. Well, considering they were, like, importing the box art for, like, every console and every game ever.
Yeah. Could you imagine, though, if you could tie that to, like, an emulator and then actually, like, pick it up off the box art and then go put it...
Cool. That was the second part of the project because that was what they debuted and that's what got them in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was they showed the emulator because before... when it was just the room part of it,
mm-hmm.
Everybody wasn't so mad about that. But when you went to the second part of the room, when there was an old retro TV that you could sit in front of and play these games, they were like, no, we're shutting that down now.
Sounds amazing.
That sounds
like some Oasis level stuff going on right there, right?
Yeah. And I really wanted that.
Moving on to Discord, Mark Szymanski says, digging deep into the well here, back in the 90s, they announced a live-action game based on the board game Clue, which was slated for the Sega CD. Clue is my favorite movie, 1985, and I'm a huge fan of the live-action games, Double Switch, Corpse Killer, etc. They had everything that I could ever dream for in a game, and it never happened. Honorable mention, the actual Super Mario Bros. 2. I suppose I should try to find lost levels and just satisfy my curiosity. Yeah.
Mark Szymanski, I'm about to make you a really happy man.
Yeah.
Because that game, even though it did get canceled, did get made.
Yeah. It was at Extra Life when I was there.
It's on, well, no, there's another one. The one that he's specifically talking about was actually made onto VHS. So
a game?
can. Yep.
What?
How?
There is I have no idea. Believe it or not, I have a copy
of Super Mario Brothers 2.
No. I'm talking the Clue board game.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
That's the one I'm talking about. Where it's like back in the 90s, the live action board game based on Clue. That original game didn't get made for the Sega CD, but they took the idea and made it onto a VHS game.
Oh, like one of those where you play it on VHS and you fast forward it to different spots and then play the game. Nice.
Yes. So
I thought you were talking about Super Mario Brothers 2. I was like, how do you play Super Mario Brothers 2 on your VCR?
Now that would be a feat.
Yeah, it would be impressive. But so, Mark, if you're looking out there, they did make a live action Clue board game, but it is on VHS. So it exists. It's just hard to find.
And it would be such a pain
even then,
in the
you'd
butt.
have to have a VHS player.
Yeah, right. I don't have a VCR anymore.
Go to Goodwill. You can get them for like $5.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. But yeah, Super Mario Brothers 2, Mark, I don't know if you really want to play that. That game is hard.
Brutal.
I mean, like it's not one that ramps up its difficulty. The very first level is stupid hard. Like it's redonkulous.
It almost reminds me of I'm sure you've seen the video of that guy playing the Super Mario clone that just tries to kill you.
Oh yeah. Where like you try to do things that it traditionally does, like you can't jump on the Goombas and or like you jump on something that you're used to jumping on and a spike will come up and kill you.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun one. Gamer Night 45. Also on Discord. I have two that come to mind. Scalebound had me very excited, but unfortunately it never saw the light of day. There was also rumors of a Legend of Dragoon 2, but alas, it also never came to fruition. I hold out hope that someday I may see these games. Legend of Dragoon 2, yes, please. Please now. Also, Vagrant Story 2.
I've not played that series at all. I guess it's not a series if there wasn't a second one.
If you love JRPGs, man, I am surprised that you've never played either.
Yeah?
Yes. No. We are remedying this. We are doing a Patreon episode where you are going to play Vagrant Story.
Okay. Is it how long of a JRPG are we talking? Because I'm kind of knee deep in the middle.
We'll talk about it later.
Right okay,
so great, moving on.
All right, so that's not happening.
Yes, it is.
Also on Discord, Alan Sheck says, I still don't own a Switch, and there have been several exclusive that have caught my eye, but somehow only one at a time, and then I got over them before I was really feeling the next one. If there's only one game I want to play, it feels hard to justify a console purchase, so I just continue to wait. Past titles include Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, and Mario Kart Home Circuit. Home Circuit is fun for about a half an hour, and then you just kind of get over it. So,
believe it or not,
not if you get those machines like that those guys had in that video.
AJ still actually plays his.
Does he? All right. I hear you, though. He goes on to say, right now, I'm diving back into Animal Crossing on GameCube, even getting my wife and kids into it. And it's a blast, but it has me itching to try new horizons. Maybe someday. Seriously, man, you can get a Switch Lite. As long as you don't mind not playing on TV, get it for like $200. Like, they're pretty cheap.
New Horizons will justify that purchase. You will spend all your time.
In terms of time, yeah. Breath of the Wild, if you want to do everything in that game, holy cow.
Just don't beat it.
Just don't beat it.
Yeah, just don't beat it. Mario Odyssey is another game I'd love to go back and revisit because I just blasted through that game. And I feel like it would still feel like a new experience if I went back and played it now.
Checklisty as that game is, I'm surprised for you.
That I didn't like checklist it out?
Yeah, because there's a lot.
There's a lot in that game.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that there are literally collectibles that are like 5 moons. Here's 5 moons. Like they don't even like hide the fact that they're just making you collect hundreds of things.
Yep. Moving on over to Twitter. Blair Farrell at Blaircade. Encore's Daredevil.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's a Daredevil game.
I should have looked. Oh, Daredevil. So Encore is the developer.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought the title of the game was Encore's Daredevil.
No. Encores.
So Zach, we're here.
Zach
is silently judging us right now.
No, he's silently judging you because I know what he's talking about.
Okay. I did not know what he was talking about. Sorry.
Last one over on Twitter, Marina at Marina Has Coffee says, always wanted to play the Oracle Zelda games and would love to see them ported to Switch one day. I could have swore those were on Switch.
Which ones did she say?
Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I have not seen them. And I actually looked for Zelda games.
Oh, no, you know what? They were on 3DS. They were on 3DS. If you can find it.
Yeah.
I was like, no, those are not on Switch, sir.
Yeah.
No, I actually looked for the old Zelda games when I was back when we did the trade-off with Link's Awakening, and
those
were not there.
Why are the Game Boy games not on the Switch Online service?
They've got to be coming next.
I would think so.
They've got to.
I'm surprised that they haven't already, because those games would be even easier to port.
Yeah, I would think so. But I would think that would be the easiest there is.
I imagine there's not as much a demand, because I feel like the people that do love those games aren't going to go buy or pay for the Nintendo Online subscription like they would for the...
Yeah.
But if you release a bunch of them at once, like...
Yeah, maybe.
All the Mega Man games...
They were actually good Mega Man games on the
Game Boy. Well, the Mega Man games, the Zelda games, the Mario games.
Mm-hmm. They just want to wait until they can make more money selling remakes of them.
Give me Tetris DX.
Tetris DX was on
Game Boy Color.
What was the one on PlayStation? That one was like the best Tetris game.
Tetris Plus.
Tetris Plus was great.
Tetris DX was fun.
Well, thank you, everybody who wrote in. That was a fun topic. And Kevin, thank you for the idea. That was really good. Next week's suggestion is actually from CB himself. So, CB, what is next week's topic going to be?
Video game skills and how or do they equate to real life?
All right. So, stay tuned. Keep your eyes on the socials on Facebook, Discord, and Twitter so that you can get your responses in. We want to know how your video game skills have translated to real life, or do you think they do or don't? We'd love to hear from you. But that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Kevin, thanks so much for being our guest, man. It was awesome for you to fill in. It was a genuine pleasure to talk with you on a full episode.
Yeah, thank you. This was new and different.
Very cool. And thank you to everybody out there listening. I'd like to remind you that the episodes are now produced by Kevin Honigford. So, Kevin, you get to listen to yourself. That's going to be a weird thing for you. And all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. CB, thanks so much for being here, man. Do you have any parting words or recommendations for our listeners before we get out of here?
I have a TV show recommendation, which I'm late to the party on, I guess.
All right.
Alice in Borderlands.
I don't know what that is.
Ooh,
Alice in Borderlands?
Alice in Borderlands. It's on Netflix. Did you watch Squid Games?
I did.
It's before Squid Games. It was Squid Games before Squid Games.
Oh, okay.
But this came out in like 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And there's a brand new season dropping December 22nd.
I've never heard of this.
Dude, it is great. I just discovered it when I was at work the other day, and I binged all 8 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a phenomenal watch. And that
is it subtitled?
Yes. Well, it's subtitled and dubbed. But I watched the entire series, and then at the end, it's like season 2 coming December 22nd, and I was like, when did this show come out? And I was like, this came out a while ago. And they're like, yep, surprise, we're making a second season, and it's coming out in 2 weeks.
Well, you picked a good time to get in on that show,
right? It's perfect.
I'm intrigued. I'll check it out. Only 8 episodes. All right. Kevin, how about you?
I don't want to sound like a broken record or anything, but everybody just go get some friends together and roll some dice.
Yeah,
just go play some D&D.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a Patreon coming up on the nuances and everything. I'm getting started and everything, but I love to vouch for the game. It's seriously, it's so, a lot of people are intimidated by different nuances, and I can't express enough. If just sit down and play for a bit and see what happens.
Friends I don't think I've paladins.
I think that the most of the laughing I've done in the past 2 or 3 years is at our D&D table, because just some of the stuff that just makes me laugh, and just some of the stupid things that we get ourselves into. And some of the stupid things our stupid bard does.
You are so very welcome. Hey, it's not my fault. Kevin let me make one of the most broken characters I've ever played.
Well, the bottom line is just have fun.
It is, and it is a good time. And it's just sit back, drink some beers, and play, and be involved in the story. It's pretty cool to finally be able to be a part of that.
Did you say you wanted a nugget?
Shut up. Oh my God. As for me, I talked last week about, I think it was last week, about finishing my second listen through of Ready Player One. I was waiting for my Audible credits to roll over again at the beginning of the month, and decided while I was waiting, I'd just go ahead and jump back into Ready Player 2 again. And again, I think I said this in the past, I don't like it as much as Ready Player 1, but it is still worth a listen. He kind of lays in the 80s nostalgia somehow 3 times as thick as he did in the first book. And I don't know, some of the arcs of the characters feel like a bit of a reach in terms of how he built them in the first story, but still better than the movie.
I swear after listening to Ready Player 2, I don't ever need to hear about Prince again in my life.
Yeah, right. I was talking to somebody about that today. It was like, oh my God, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's still worth a listen to. But next week I will have a new book to talk to. I'm thinking about picking up the Reggie Fils-Aimé book. I've not read that one yet. I'd be curious to hear about that dude's life. So anyway, thanks so much again, guys, for being here. It was a lot of fun. And everybody out there, until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Chris Behrensmeyer and Kevin Honigford, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.